isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will.
Welcome to Perspective, a podcast for wedding creators, where we sit down, often with a special guest, and talk about our many years of experience in the wedding industry so you can learn from us and grow your wedding business. Hello, I'm Simon.
And I'm Greg.
Together, we are Cinemate Films, two Scottish-based wedding filmmakers who love nothing more than drinking coffee and talking shop with others in the wedding industry. And we've teamed up with the Wyrd Retreat to bring you a series of special episodes in the lead up to the gathering on the 23rd to the 26th of March 2026 in the Peak District. Of course, this episode is sponsored by With Jack and Pick Time, but I'll get onto that a little bit later in the show. Good morning, Greg. Who are we talking to today?
We are talking to the man behind Wyrd. We're talking to Luke Whittemore. Hello, Luke.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Very well.
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
The Weird Man himself.
Just a
Just a weirdo. Look, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners? Maybe some people might not have heard of you, might not have seen your work. So what do you do?
Most likely not. Probably not. My name's Luke. I'm primarily a wedding photographer based in Nottinghamshire. Yeah.
Very cool. I mean, I called you the Weird Man himself. Has anyone ever called you weird? Do you identify with the weird terminology?
I definitely identify more so in that direction. Yeah, I think so. I guess I've always been a bit of an outlier in that sense. Like I like to do things differently. I was never a trend follower at school and things like that. You know, kids with Pokemon cards, and I was like, well, I can't get into that because too many people like it. And
oh, that's so bizarre. When I was in school, Pokemon cards were not really that popular.
Okay,
but that was a long time ago.
But yeah, I think it's always been, whether it's into music, I've always kind of scouted out the underground stuff and that kind of thing. So yeah, I guess it is planted in me somewhere.
Yeah, nice. Greg, who was it who asked that question? Was it Kate who asked me why do I identify as being weird?
Yeah,
and
she had a good answer.
She did have a good answer,
and she challenged you on your feelings as well.
Yes, and I gave a shit answer. Still don't really know. I don't know. I feel like it's baked into my bones. You know.
I think anyone who is in a creative industry has this, I guess a weird outlook on life, or is perceived as weird at some point during their life, because I think they create, like any kind of art, you're always going to be on a fringe of something. So that's probably it.
Now, some of our listeners or viewers might be thinking, you're using the term all wrong. You are right. I am using the different spelling of the word weird. Why did you go for?
Yeah, for this, I mean, because where it is for a start in the Peak District, I mean, it's quite a special place in terms of just being there feels different, you know. It's you kind of just amongst the hills and the rocks and the formations and things, just feels different. So that was the one key reason I wanted to have it there, but also like having something central. Well, I'm based in the Midlands, so it's like there always seem to be this, and I think I spoke about it with you last time, but there always seems to be this like invisible gate around the Midlands of creativity, or like there's a lot of it going on, but people tend to keep themselves to themselves and keep their heads down. And where was I going with this?
Don't worry about going off in tangents. We love a tangent here. Don't worry. Just keep talking.
But no,
it's good. I'm enjoying listening to your dulcet tones.
The weird thing where it came from is obviously doing research into that folklore of that part of the country and stuff, but also like finding the meaning behind that word and where it comes from, where it correlates to now, is like to carve your own path, to kind of make your own way, and being pulled by whichever direction is I guess meant for you. But so that's in a short form kind of way where the thing came from.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because maybe it was about maybe five years ago, I actually named one of our wedding films Wyrd. Weird. And it was a pagan ceremony, and I just that was kind of the vibe, kind of almost spiritual, but setting your own path. It's quite interesting. And then ever since then, I've been like that. The word has been like popping up every so often, and so when I saw the workshop was named that, I don't know. I felt kind of bonded to it, predispositioned to it. So yeah, I don't know. It's good. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a cracking event.
Yeah, it's good, and hopefully other people feel that way, because the whole thing about how we've worded it and how we've kind of tried to intertwine all of those folklore bits into it. It's not in that sense. We're not going to be sitting around in circles and doing pagan ceremonies or anything like that. But it's
except for night 3, where we're going to be sacrificing Greg's right arm to the tree gods. Sorry, Greg. I forgot. I don't think I sent the memo out. But yeah, you're going to be losing your hand there.
So before we get deep into Wyrd, let's get to know you as a person a bit more and as a photographer. So outside of photography, like what are your hobbies? What's a good day for you? What do you get up to?
Oh, actually, really boring person.
Aren't we all, man? Aren't we all? Deep down.
Hobbies, I guess. I guess I'm still implanted in music. That's my upbringing, and my background is music. So I guess that is my hobby now, rather than my career and work, which it was for a very long time. So yeah, I guess music. I love music. I love listening to music. I love playing music. Yeah. And outside of that,
I was actually going to ask, what part of music is it that you focus on? Is it like, do you go to gigs and photograph gigs, or do you play a specific instrument? Does your musicality inform your photography? Let's dive into the world of music, because I too am a music lover. I'm not a very good player, but I would describe myself as a drummer. Self-taught guitarist, not very good again. But yeah, I feel like it all connects on a creative level.
Yeah, I think it's quite strange. Like, you meet there's quite a few photographers and people out there who I find are or have been a musician at some point during their life. I think it's just the creative path, isn't it? It's like you need to have an outlet of some, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's But yeah, it was. I grew up playing music. I play guitar. I play drums. I used to sing. Produced a lot of music as well, and then obviously that path led me to a kind of a career in the music industry. So it's kind of a big part of life, I suppose.
Do you have space for a drum kit? Like, are you like, where do you live on an estate, or do you have room to be on a loud instrument?
No, I only have a guitar. In fact, I have 2 guitars in the house now. Kind of dwindled down the collection, so to speak. But yeah, I have an acoustic guitar that sits here in the studio, and then my other guitar is currently just under the bed in its case.
Yeah, fair enough. I've hung my acoustic on the wall because I feel like it was fine in the case, but I always want to be reminded of the fact that music's a part of me, but I never do it. So it's just there as decoration, as a past life, a relic of an old.
Yeah. What you need to do is actually not have it on the wall and just have it leaning up somewhere. So every now and again, you'll just stub your toe or like knock it over. And
yes, that is true. Well, you know what? Actually, it's quite tight now that I've got a standing desk. When I open the door, it's quite tight. So when I'm walking past the guitar, sometimes I'll like hit it with my shoulder. Yeah, so I do get that kind of physical tactility there with the instrument. Pretty much the only tactile event it gets, to be honest. It's a shame, but I put it in easy arm's reach, so I can grab it at any time and just like play. But
it's quite a nice thing, especially if you've got it in your workspace in terms of editing and things. When you just need that little break, you just pick it up, have a noodle, and then
Well, the thing I've quite enjoyed actually is like I've got my drum pad and drumsticks in the background, and I feel like technical rudiments are the first thing to go. One with age, and two just with not practicing enough on an actual kit. And so you'd get out and you'd be like, oh my god, I'm so bad. So it's just it's a good way of keeping the skill alive. Yeah. Until I'm like 60 and I realize, what have I done with my life? I gotta get back to music. And then I feel that happens to everyone, right?
I feel like it does. I feel it'll always come back around, and it's always a skill that's there to come back to as well. So I think any creative endeavor that you take, you can always come back to at some point when the spark hits, I guess.
Now, I don't know about you, but this is gonna put my family in bad light, but one part of the spark not getting relit is the fact that I have 3 kids and my wife, and she's also self-employed, and we have all these like Christmas shows and classes and stuff, and I'm running my own business, and then now I've got to do TikTok and manage your social medias and it's a fuck the podcast. What am I doing? Like, I've got no time. I should just be not focusing on these little side ditties, but I don't know. Do you struggle with that?
Almost like a bit of a guilt kind of thing if you pick it up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, and same situation for us, really. We've got two girls. They're growing up fast now. One's 11 and one's 13 now. So it's kind of we're almost well, they're self-sufficient to a degree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That age, man, is tough because they start to rebel. And then when you say something, they give the eye roll. Or maybe, mine do. A lot of eye rolling in this household.
Yeah, there's a lot of eye rolling. There's a lot of, embarrassment. But that's the fun part as a dad, isn't it, as well?
100%. If you're not embarrassing your kids, what the fuck are you doing being a father? I mean,
fully lean into it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So the kids and we actually, it was, I guess it was coming. It was when lockdown happened. We decided, the youngest was just about joining school. She was in reception, I think, and then the eldest was in like year 3. Yeah, year 2 or 3. And during lockdown is when we decided to home ed them as well. So we home ed both of them right up until about a year ago. They both decided they wanted to try out school.
Yeah.
My eldest, she wanted to go up to comp. So yeah, but both being self-employed, both being in creative kind of industries, we was like, well, why not try and home ed and take that path and let them discover things for as long as possible. Which was hard work, but also fun,
Yeah, I am. During lockdown, my wife and I were doing the education, and we were actually helping out our next door neighbors. Like, so their kids would come over, and we'd all just sit around the table and do the work. And I almost didn't survive. Look, what a hell on earth. Pay teachers more, god damn it.
Yeah, definitely.
Honestly. But yeah.
It's
I'm glad
it's
it
hard.
was successful for you.
But I mean, it was a good time. Like we managed to. I think it gives you a different perspective on teaching and school as a whole for definite, but also like just the way kids learn, and when you actually give them space to do it themselves or get into a project and run with it kind of thing. That's what we're doing. We're kind of doing the whole unschooling thing where you basically there's no curriculum to follow. There's no like worksheets or books sat at a desk writing and things like that. So it was very much child led where what are you interested in this week? Okay, we'll give you all the supplies and all the materials to be able to take it as far as you need.
Oh, interesting. Was there anything surprising that your kids said that they wanted to learn about?
Yeah, so my youngest, she's really into rocks.
Rocks?
Still is.
All right. Sorry. I told you there's going to be at least a dad pun in every episode. I swear to God.
So, yeah, I think that's still a thing that she's into, and yeah, just loves like geodes and cracking open rocks, and she's got a rock tumbler.
All right. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. To make them shine into like shiny little pebbles. And
yeah. Look, this might sound weird, but sometimes I'm on a TikTok journey on a field that I don't really experience, and rock tumbling on TikTok I found quite interesting. I love. I mean, I don't know if it's a thing, but I've seen at least a handful of videos, and I just like follow them down the stream of rocks. Yeah, it's good. I will say, however, when you said Geo, I did think of the Pokemon. So definitely rocks are not a part of my life. Yeah, just be careful. I believe that fighting is good against rocks, so just be careful. Sorry. This is my first coffee in 2 days, so I'm going a little bit nuts. Anyway,
so back in your music days, is that where your love of photography came? Like, were you going gigging and taking a camera with you on the road?
It's a strange thing, because when I look back to those times now, I always had a camera with me. I mean, when I was in bands and stuff, we used to go around playing gigs and whatever, but I'd always have I had a little Diana Lomo thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really pay much attention to it back then. It was just like a tool to be able to take photos of the band, like when we were playing, like in a van or wherever we were going to, kind of thing. So it was just a tool to be able to document it, I suppose. And I didn't really start to take it seriously as like I'm into photography until the kids were born. And I was like, I don't want to take photos on my phone. I want to have a tool, like an archive of them being babies and stuff. So again, I had that camera. I had my dad's, in fact, yeah, it's on the shelf over there. My dad's old Zenit camera, which I didn't know how to use, but I just like,
I have an old Zenit as well.
Yeah,
somewhere kicking around. Yeah,
I
you
think
my
that's from the old
grandfather.
office.
Oh yeah, was it? Oh right, okay. Was it my grandfather's? Was that just a?
I think it might have been my aunt's or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was in the old office for ages.
Okay, I was wondering if we had bought it. Ladies and gentlemen, you might find this funny. Back when Greg and I were starting to think about branding, we were thinking about, and this is back in the era of like teacups and saucers, right? We were thinking, what's more cool and retro than old gentleman bowler hats? And we went secondhand shopping for bowler hats. I don't know if you remember this, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking bowler hats. What the fuck?
I can see Greg's face is like, I don't want to remember this.
Yeah, this is 15 years ago, wedding industry business.
Us young boys, just baby-faced, just, excuse me, can I get that hat? I mean, the hat was lovely. It came inside the like it was a proper, like, well,
They were
You had
good quality hats, yeah.
They were good quality hats, like proper thick, and one of them came inside a big hat box. And I don't know, it reminded me of my grandfather because he had hats like that as well. But I don't know. Anyway, that was a random fact. Sorry, Luke. Show us your camera.
This is the old. I mean, it doesn't even stay. That's the one.
Yeah,
isn't it? ET with a
I
little.
mean, that
50.
is the one in our office, isn't it, Greg?
I think so.
Don't know if it works though.
Yeah, so like
does yours still work?
door, it works, yeah, but the door doesn't stay closed, so you have to tape it. Like you have to tape it shut.
I'm pretty sure that means it doesn't work. I'm afraid. And once once the doors don't close on those old cameras,
but that's the beauty of film, isn't it? Like you
that's
kind
true.
of tools like that, and like tools with the Diana as well, with the whole Lomo thing is. It's like you get these cool light leaks and streaks and going right.
Yeah, it is
light
true.
leak going right through your newborn's face and stuff.
Yeah, all for the vibe though. All for the vibe. You're like, yeah.
As your kids have grown up, and as your photography's became a business and it's work, have you continued that passion for documenting them? Like, do you still use? Because I went through the same. Like when my son was born, it's like, right, I'll make sure and get a proper camera to be my personal one, take good pictures of him, and then I just find myself reverting back to the phone because it's there, it's easy, and I don't have to edit them. Does that happen to you, or are you still quite good at using the professional cameras to document personal life?
Yeah, not so much like just home life anymore. I mean, while I was home educating and stuff, yeah, definitely, because we had a physical, like, what would you say, a physical report of everything that we was doing as well. So you'd have to send that to the authorities or whatever to prove that you're actually doing some schoolwork. But yeah, so we did that, but yeah, it's less so now. Still take proper cameras on trips and stuff whenever we go. So I try and document, but it's not as much these days. Yeah. I think that becomes, it's when anything becomes your profession is, I guess it's less so for personal use, isn't it?
Yeah.
It always reminds me of that phrase, the cobbler's children have no shoes. I love that.
Exactly.
I fucking love that saying. Old listeners will be like, fucking hell, he said it again. That must be his favourite saying. It bloody well is. And it's just, it's funny because you'd think, because I've obviously thought about that quite a lot, that I would have done the opposite. But no, I'm with Greg. I'm actually, Luke as well, like, I had a camera, and I was like, yes, this is going to be for documenting life, blah, blah, blah. Kid number 1, loads of photographs. Kid number 2, yeah, cool, they're still both of them together, it's amazing. Kid number 3, I don't know. Nope, nothing, very little on the wall. I feel really bad, but hey, lots on my phone, but yeah.
It's yeah, I think it just becomes like the norm, doesn't it? That's the thing. When it's new and fresh, I guess it's.
Yes,
but I know. I still try and. Well, they hate the photo being taken anyway, but it's all.
Yeah. I get that. It's just like my mother-in-law. Can't get a good picture of her, and then she goes, "I don't take a good picture." If you were to pose, if you were to like, let me take your picture, I would make it good. Anyway, yeah. So you used to take band pictures. Like,
weirdly, not like the two, I guess, careers never really intertwined. I didn't take.
Interesting.
So I didn't go to gigs and take photos of bands and things like that. It's always just a tool just to document my own band, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was something I never really thought of, and it's something in the back of my mind that I'd like to do some kind of portraiture project or something to do with music and photography. You know, some of my favorite pictures are like when you've got the behind the scenes of a band in the studio, like Bob Dylan in the studio recording sessions, and you can see like, what was that old mic he was using? Look at that look at that guitar that they're using and things like that.
Yeah.
That's always been more of an interest, I think.
I'm actually with you on that one. I'm so interested as to what musicians are using or experimenting with that they would maybe not that they wouldn't like tell everyone, but I don't know, sometimes like musicians just play around with things, and so when you're looking at a behind the scenes image, you can have the time to analyze, what kind of cabs are using, what's their guitar, all those kind of things. I find really interesting, so I'm with you on that one. But so obviously you're shooting film at this point. Is your work primarily film based when you go to a wedding, or are you shooting digital at all? Like, what's your
workflow? Still the majority digital. Yeah, I like to show a lot of film, but it's still kind of majority digital on a wedding day, really.
Yeah. And when you shoot digital, are you posting it to look as real to film as you can, or are you keeping the two styles kind of separate?
Yeah, I kind of keep them separate. Although I use like a portrait based, like, I guess, base pack for my edits, so it's close. But there's always difference between the two. I think I don't try and make digital look like film. It's just what it is, kind of thing. So
yeah, and you mentioned like documenting your band stuff, like that's very much for you. Documenting your family life, that's really for you again. But there is that kind of like you're documenting stuff rather than creating a visual piece of art there. And I'm wondering, does that idea translate to your wedding photography? Like, are you more documentary, kind of photojournalist type style, or like what kind of influences you when it comes to like the images that you create?
Yeah, I think definitely more documentary is more my kind of thing in terms of, because I mean I'm quite introverted in that sense, so I say this to couples like beforehand as well. I think I think you naturally gravitate towards people who are quite similar in that sense. So a lot of people who see my work or inquire with me are that way inclined as well. They don't particularly like their photo being taken. They don't want to pose. And I say to them, I'm pretty introverted in that sense. Like, I won't be a big bombastic presence on the day. Because I think there's people who like that, and there are photographers for those people as well. And I make it clear that I'm not one of those people. I like to make people feel comfortable, relaxed. I like to be a bit more of a calming presence, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that lends into like that reportage kind of documentary feel anyway. But also at the same time, you've got to be everything on a wedding day, haven't you? As a photographer, although a documentary is a big part of the day. Well, I probably take 15, 20 minutes doing portraits and posing stuff. Like, so the majority is, kind of fly on the wall stuff.
Yeah. I'm always drawn to photographers who have the confidence to sit someone in a studio and do studio work. I feel it's never a side of photography that I've ever dabbled in before. And I feel like it's because it scares me to be one-on-one with a person. You know, what do you say? How do you convey yourself to make them feel comfortable enough to get them to express something when they're just on a very simple white backdrop or something? You know, I find it's a very vulnerable space.
Yeah.
That kind of correlation that you said you're kind of more introverted. I wonder, are there any introverted individuals who do portraiture work, like studio-based stuff? Listeners, if you know any, let me know. I'm intrigued. Do you know anyone? Or are you even interested in like that sort of photography? Because obviously it's not what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, great. And I think like you were saying about that, it's all about a connection, isn't it? That one-on-one portraiture studio. You're not, whenever you kind of see a portrait photographer in a studio setting like that, you'll see them like the camera's down here, or like it's never in front of the photographer's face. You're always eye level with your subject, and you're having a conversation, and those kind of things, that they bring down barriers, don't they? And that's where you get the most natural portrait shots, I think.
Yeah, is
just having a connection with people. And that's something that's really important to me, like on the run up to any wedding, is like building a rapport, making sure I'm in touch with couples, and just finding out more about them and what they're into, and music for one is a really good indicator of that as well. I hate that I keep going back to music, but
no, keep going back to music. I love it.
But it's a good indicator of how you strike a relationship up with someone, isn't it? Like, I mean, I'm not into sports, I'm not into football or anything, but again, that's like another. If you've got nothing to say to someone, say, "Are you into football?" or whatever.
God, not with me, Luke. In fact, we had this conversation with Kate where she can talk about football, and I was like, "You can fucking talk to Greg." So you and me, Luke, we'll head to the bar. We can let them two talk about football. My God, I don't know. Yeah,
I think growing up, it was that was it, wasn't it? It's either music or sports. You're either not good at sports, you best go over to the music block then.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, maybe that's what it is in my head. Then I feel I so identify with Wyrd, because everyone, like, I don't know, if you're a guy, it seems to me you need to have a prerequisite to talk about sport or football. And I was just like, I mean, I don't want to be talking about millionaires who kick a ball about. And plus I'm shit with names. You're telling me that I have to learn names? Get fucked. No way. I'll go over here and I'll play instruments. Shit. There's letters I have to learn with the instrument? What instrument doesn't have letters? Drums. Excellent. And that's how I became a drummer.
Just hit stuff and see what comes out.
Just hit stuff. I was a very angry teen. Like, I just... I'm interested, Luke, to hear if there's been any weddings where you've been like, you're back at the studio, you're back in your office, you're post-processing, or even, you know what, not even, you're at the wedding and you're thinking, yes, this is it. This is the type of wedding I want to do. These are the type of people I want to photograph. And how did that feeling translate into the images? Is there a memory you can recall?
Yeah, probably. When was it? A couple of years ago now. But just, I think it all comes down to, so it's a really strange, this one was a strange story, and I don't think this would ever happen. And that's probably why it's a special one as well. Like, I met this couple, I was working for a company at a big trade music show, helping out in LA, and this couple reached out to me a couple of weeks before I was heading out there, or like the week before. And so I emailed back just saying, "Oh yeah, love to chat. This sounds great, but I'm going to be away in LA for the next couple of weeks. I'd love to chat when I'm back." And they came back and said, "Well, we live in LA, but we're getting married in the UK."
Oh, amazing.
So she was British, and husband is, Mexican, Italian, LA. So we met up to chat while I was over there in my hotel. They took me out for dinner, and there was like this instant kind of connection there. His family were musicians as well. So and I think that connection makes it more special, because there's like there's already a rapport there by the time the wedding came around, like a few months later. So I think that is probably where you get the best out of them, and where you perform the best as well, because everyone feels comfortable, and you kind of know what they're expecting and what they want from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Do you what's your workflow like before a wedding? Do you try and meet in person with couples if you can, or is it online forms? Is it Google Meet or whatever?
Yeah, it's most. I mean, the first chat is always over Google Meet, and then just either keep in touch like WhatsApp or emails, sort of along the way, kind of thing. But I always try and make sure, like, I send out, as soon as they've booked, I send out a questionnaire, which is just more personal stuff, like what they're into as individuals, as a couple, what they like to do on the weekend, like all the kind of stuff that gets you to know them a little bit better. Because I think, again, like as an introverted person, I think although you might be quite shy, I think you feel like you connect with people differently. It's like a deeper thing. Like, you can't just have a stop and chat with someone, but if you sit down with a coffee or a beer, and it's like, that's easier in a way.
Yeah. Do you see, when you send out a questionnaire, do you, obviously it's to garner the information, but do you put any tonality that reflects your brand? For example, and I can't actually remember if we're doing this yet, but it always reminds me of Ryan from Shutter Go Click. He puts in some daft questions. Now, I can't remember specifically what the question was, but it was like, do you like A, B, or C? But they're all the same. They're all the same answer, so you can only give one answer. It's something daft. And I'm like, oh, that's totally Ryan. But that's not like it's obviously not a question for them for Ryan to get to know them. It's more of this is what you're expecting. You're expecting something a little bit different here. Do you do anything like that? And maybe not even just your questionnaire, like anywhere along the communication pipeline?
I mean, there's always, it's never quite as quirky as Ryan, I guess, but like, it's all aimed to be, it's all aimed to be quite personal. And I think that's the best way to, there has to be like that personal brand sense in there. So they know what they're getting, kind of thing from you. And again, like, what makes people connect with you in the first place? Personal brand, I think it's an important part of. It's an important part of like that very first instance of bringing people in. Do they connect? Do they connect with your work and your photos? Yes, but also at the same time, do they connect with you as a person?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's never. Sorry.
So I was going to say, did you use any of those skills to attract some of the names that you're bringing to Wyrd? Because, like, you did well to pull in some of these names.
Yeah, I don't know how. I think people can see through. It's so easy to see through just bullshit. And I think as long as being genuine, and you can, like, as when I reached out to these people, I was like, look, this is the first time I've ever done anything about this. But when you can write something with something that you're clearly passionate about, people, the right people connect with it. And luckily the right people connected with it. I mean, when I had the idea a couple of years ago, I mean, the first person I asked was Kate. Like, I said, if I ever do something like this, I was like, will you come and speak at it? And she was like, 100% yes. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it could work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. She told us that little ditty there. You kind of got her on board before the event even was a thing. Very smart. Very, very smart.
Yeah. So I said, do you remember that thing that you said yes to like 2 years ago?
Yeah. Amazing.
We've
Yeah.
only spoke to a couple of the people so far, a couple of speakers, but a running thread behind why they got involved was
the
heart
roll top
behind the
baths.
event. Oh well,
It was a roll top bath. Sorry.
No, it was the heart behind the event, and like just what you'd put together, and that was what sort of got them on board. So like, what did spark the idea for a retreat, and this retreat in particular?
Selfishly, selfishly for me, like I thought this is something that I want. This is something that. Sorry, notifications. Yeah, create something, because I mean the conference thing isn't for me. Like that's the thing. I was like, I can't. I went to a big conference a few weeks ago, and it was although you take away a lot from it, from the talks and from the people who are speaking at these events. A lot of that stuff is also in the socialization between all of those people in that space. And if you struggle with that, like it can be quite overwhelming to go into a big space full of 500 people and be on your own kind of thing. Whereas something much smaller, intimate, spaced out, to be able to allow those people to feel comfortable to, again, like warm into a chat with someone is what I would want from an event.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously getting some great minds to come and to speak at it who are quite similar in that sense as well, I guess.
Yeah. For those listening and interested in going to the retreat, can you tell us all the speakers who are going to be there?
Yeah, so we have Ed Godden speaking, we have Kate Hampson, we have Igor Demba, we have Sun3 Photo, we have Department 2, which was our, I guess, the kind of the wild card in the sense that they're not in the wedding industry. And I thought that was important as well to bring in someone who's not in the wedding industry, but has a really unique take on that creative process. And it's a husband and wife team. I think that'll be a really interesting kind of curveball in the event. And then we've got Ollie Sansom as well of Briar's Atlas coming, which
yeah, and obviously
good lineup.
It is a really good lineup, and I mean, so far we've spoken to a few and have already recorded some of the episodes. So I'm excited to be at the event for sure, because I think a lot of people will get a lot from it, if I'm honest. Obviously from the chats, from the talks, but you know, like you said, it's that kind of the stuff in between, the getting to know each other on that kind of, I don't know, personal level, I suppose, and then
definitely, and I think
dive
like
into individual topics
from that sense. Even though we've got speakers there, and the whole point as well, which is a big like key factor, is not having this kind of hierarchy of we've got presenters, we've got these people up on a stage or whatever, and you're listening. So the whole point was not to have that hierarchy. And because I think everyone attending who has bought a ticket to come to the retreat has something really valuable to offer as well. And it's a unique perspective on their way of working. And conversation between two attendees can be just as fruitful as listening to a leader in the industry giving a talk, because everyone will come away learning something. So I think that's an important part of it is getting that across, that everyone has something to bring to the table.
I was actually just really surprised that Ed wanted to talk so much about money. So I'm to encourage people to ask him about money. I'm so sorry, Ed. I'm so sorry.
He wants to talk about money. What, like?
Oh, he doesn't. He doesn't at all. He doesn't at all. I'm just making sure that people are prepared to wind him up. I'm sorry, Ed. I'm a bad man.
Brilliant.
We're going to interrupt this podcast to bring you an advertisement for PickTime. Our buddies at PickTime. We love PickTime. If you want to elevate your business, PickTime's maybe the way to do it.
It's an online gallery delivery service.
It's a really good looking one, which is initially how we got into the service. It just looks better than all the other kind of platforms that we personally use.
Yeah. We've over time got to know the owners, got to know the people behind it. Lovely people, great support system there as well.
There's just so many tools at your fingertips with PickTime, but the marketing and the blogs and the slideshow features.
Yeah, there's so much more than just a gallery delivery service. You've got all those things that Simon was talking about. You can create your own blog from it. You can create slideshows. One new feature that I really love is the vendor network. It's where you can use AI to curate a gallery for a specific supplier. So you could use AI to gather all the photos of the flowers and send them to the florist, and they would have that gallery specific just for them.
It's kind of a mind-blowing feature.
Yeah.
And we might as well be taking advantage of AI before the uprising and it starts taking advantage of us. So let's just all bear that in mind.
Yeah, and not to mention the built-in store, and that way you can just make more money while also having a nice, aesthetically pretty gallery.
Yeah. And if you want to sign up today, you can get a free month if you use Perspective at checkout.
Yeah.
So if you want to test out for free for a month, go for it.
Take your business to the next level with PickTime.
Brilliant.
Great. Do you have any of those images ready so we can show people where the retreat's happening, and then we can,
You put me in the
tease
spot here.
people with the beauty of the Peak District? There we go. We've got screen sharing going on. Oh, look at this. Look at this place.
So high tech here.
This is classic podcast listening content. Seeing photographs through your ear holes. Amazing.
Just listen to that slideshow.
So yeah, I guess it's like anybody on YouTube or Spotify video are seeing these images of the venue Arc. Tell us a bit more about that space in particular, because it looks pretty cool. So what is it about that place?
It was kind of the instant thing for me. It was like as soon as I found it, I was like, right, this event is going ahead. That was like the kicker for me to just book it and start the process. Because I knew I wanted it to be in the Peak District for those reasons that I said earlier, but it was like I first looked at a hotel which had these kind of cabin nooks that people could book, but the majority of the event would then be in like a conference room in the hotel, and typically it's like a hotel conference room. I was like, this isn't inspiring. This isn't the vibe of the thing. It has to be more homely. It has to be like being able to be comfortable just in your pajama trousers or whatever, like sitting on a sofa kind of thing. And that's what I wanted it to go for. So as soon as I found this place, it was it was like, okay, that's exactly what I had in mind.
Mm-hmm. Are these all your photographs, by the way?
Yeah, all the film ones, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Someone's getting in that phone booth. Yeah, it looks cracking. I'm disappointed, though, there's not a picture of the rolled-up bath. Disappointed. Come on, Luke. Come on.
There's one on the website.
I have been asked by Ollie to double check if he has a roll-top bath.
Only if Ollie recreates his profile picture.
Oh yeah.
What? What's this? What's this?
Did you not
profile
see-
picture?
Did you not see Ollie's profile picture that he sent through for the announcement of him speaking?
Is it
Oh,
is the
God,
same one
no.
that he sent us for the episode cover?
Oh, the one in the bath.
He's in a bath in the middle of a
And
field.
And it's funny
Wait,
if you look closer at that, that's not actually a bath. He's like sat in like in a sink of some sort.
Oh my God. I'm going to have a closer look, because when I asked him, well, I told him like Kate had a roll-top bath, and he was like, what's a roll-top bath? It's like, what? But yeah, interesting.
I like how much attention the roll top bath is getting.
Yeah.
I mean, Kate is very happy. That's all I'm saying.
Well, she needed her space. Like again, like Kate is one who she says, "Yeah, I'll come to it, but also can I have my own room and space that I need to retreat to, like if I need to?" Which is like, yeah, okay, cool.
Kate, you're
Yeah.
such a diva. Kate. Yeah, no, I get it.
Like you said, a lot of the gold from this event is going to be in the downtime and the breaks and just hanging out at breakfast. But the speaker lineup that you have sort of selected, you must have selected them for specific reasons. Like obviously they're all at the top of their game, killing it. But what was it for each speaker that sort of made you think, right, I need to speak to them and get them on board?
I think a big part of it, and a big part of the event, is to do with like longevity in the industry, and how do you stay creative for a long period of time. And like I think every one of the speakers at the event has something in that to bring to it, so it kind of all gels in that nice way. So I think rather than go for who's popping off on social media or things like that, then it's trying to be a bit more intentional with the way we do that, and what everyone has something different and a unique take to bring to it, definitely as the speakers go. But like I say, the key to it all was like that you've been in the industry for a while. How do you stay relevant, but also keep a creative head?
Yeah.
So, going back to what you said about your kids, like, did you use the words unlearning? What was the you used a word specifically about like
unschooling.
Is that the sort of thing that you're going to be trying to encourage at Wyrd? Because there is, like, I don't know, a lot of ideas can get suppressed into our minds as to why or who we should be looking at or what type of work we should be doing. So I'm intrigued to hear about that.
Yeah, I think that's, again, like another point, and why I think it's quite important to have something like this is, again, the way the world is going, the way social media goes, especially as solo businesses, we tend to like get caught up in an echo chamber, or like forever comparing yourself to what's on social media. AI, obviously, and it becomes to a point where it's just exhausting to, like, I'll read something these days, like I get to the first paragraph or the first sentence, I was like, that's AI. I'm bored already. So my mind's wandered.
Where are you wandering to? It's fine. Take us with you.
I was trying to think like where I was heading with my point. Bringing people together to have real real conversation, real connection. Like that's where the best kind of creative, you can re-find your creative spark, I guess.
Yeah.
Is by being genuinely inspired by someone that you're with, like face to face with an actual human.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been doing a lot of not a lot of contemplating, as if I do that all the time. But we were talking to Ollie, and the Australian government has enforced the whole no social media under 16s. And on that episode of the podcast, I was very good on the government for doing that. And I feel like I'm still that way, but I've been hearing a lot of arguments about people saying that it's going to take the ability for people to, bond with each other, because social media platforms is how especially minority groups tend to find one another. And so it's been interesting to think about social media in that light, instead of in the way that affects your kids, But me personally, I like the one-to-one, like whenever I can take a one-to-one or small group approach to anything that I do, I tend to find that extremely valuable, connecting with people.
Well, it becomes, you get to a point where, especially with social media and things like that, it becomes you can only see so much before your brain just starts to shut down and just like not shut down, but just like turn off from, because it's just excess noise. There's only so much information you can take in, and as human beings, as like sapiens, we're not supposed to be connected with hundreds of people at one time. And again, like, why something like this that's small and intimate, and it's actually building a solid community of people. Some people will stick around, and some people it might not be for them. But I think that's the kind of the solid foundation of it. Is you're not trying to like build this massive empire of people. It's a small community of people who see the same kind of thing. It's like it's a tribe, isn't it? That's basically what we're all in, these little tribes. And what social media has done is made this tribe just expand like exponentially, and it's too much information. Our brains aren't developed enough for that particular interaction.
Yeah, I don't follow a lot of Gary Vee's content, but a video popped up on my social media For You page, and he was talking about how his prediction for 2026 is, and I can't remember what the word that he used, but it's essentially connecting with people through your own very niche interests. And so a lot of people, for example, I like vinyls and what bands. And so you'll connect with people who are very specific about vinyls and what bands. And that is apparently the way that social media is heading, which I feel like is very...
It's like not being a one, like I'm a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole surrounding of like, these are my interests. I see. Yeah, I think I saw him talking about that.
Yeah, it was interesting because so I don't know if you are familiar with Aga.
Sorry, go on.
No, that's fine. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Aga Maru. She works for PickTime. Lovely woman, but she did a workshop and she had a booklet, and she was like, put all your interests down on a page and circle them, and where can they intersect. I always thought that exercise was quite valuable for people, because I do think that people tend to separate their interests kind of in the way that you just said. We're not just photographers. That's one part of the story that people can find you through, but when they connect with you, it's probably not going to be through photography. It's going to be because you like a band, or you like a certain type of music, or you're into I don't know, fly fishing. Something very specific about your own story connects with their very specific part of their story, and so you've got this like interesting connection of your hobbies. And I think I do quite often think a lot about that. I mean, have I done anything with those thoughts? Absolutely not. But still, it's I do find it really interesting that we're all, with that Gary Vee prediction, trying to niche, like we're taking that big tribe that you were talking about, and we're trying to make it as small as possible online. I'm like, yeah, sounds interesting. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's what did he call? It's not interest-based marketing, is it? Because that's a thing. But like, it's very much that interest, rather than having separate social media pages for all of your different things. Like, here's my business, here's my personal social media.
Yeah,
smash them together. And again, yeah, people. I think that's it. I think it's just people wanting a more real experience, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
A human connection to something they can level with, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned about when you see photographs of bands in a studio, they're always the ones that interest you. And I feel like it's the same with our own businesses. Whenever we post like a behind the scenes shot of us working, or something about what we're doing out with actually shooting a wedding, that's what connects with people more. And it's what I enjoy seeing from other creatives. I'm like, oh, that's what you're up to just now. And that's like seeing that social part of it and like connecting with them personally.
Because we're just full of intrigue, aren't we? That's the thing. It's like, you want to know if you see something that you like, or that you think kind of connect with, you want to know more and more about that thing. Or that person. So it's all interest based stuff. So I think it's important. And yeah, he's right. Definitely right. In terms of, we shouldn't just be this machine that pushes one form of marketing, I guess.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's a reflection on the AI world at the moment, because, I have read a lot of bios in my time from photographers, and even before AI, some of them were drab. Like, very, very much, oh, I love photographing this, and I have a blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's cool. It already sounds like a robot. And now it's even worse. Like, people are using AI to do things. And there's a rhythm to AI if you don't teach it. That is so clear to me. It's wild. I'm not saying the rhythm is bad or whatever, but I think people can abuse it with the notion that they are communicating themselves, but they're not doing enough work to work with AI to do it. So
I had this. I had very similar conversation with I went out with some friends last night, and it was similar conversation. Like, I'm seeing this company called Suno, I think. Yeah, Suno, where basically
the music, yeah.
So basically, if you're an average guitar player, you've got a riff in your mind. You can record it into Suno, and it'll go, here you go. But their whole marketing thing is like, it's disgusting, really, because it's like saying, learning an instrument or learning this piece takes too long. Why would I want to take that long when I can just put it into here and it does it for you? It's like, well, what's the point then? What's you have an interest in music or art or something, because all of the enjoyment is in the process of learning and making mistakes and then figuring out what works best. And I think the minute you take that away, it's like, okay, on to the next thing. Like, what?
I think taking shortcuts to, like, people are always like, they want the next workshop or the next course that's going to get them to be this big successful photographer. And it's like, that's too much of a shortcut. You need to like slow down, put in the years of work and get good in your own way and own time, I feel like. And that's, I guess, based on the people that you've got at the workshop, like Ed Godin being in it for 30 years and Ollie, like these people have all taken time to develop their craft and to become good at it and enjoy their work and stuff.
Yeah.
I think, trying to just get the quick win is never the easy way. It feels easy, but it's not.
I was having an interesting conversation with one of our friends, Greg, and specifically talking about AI for music. And I mean, she is in many bands, and I kind of wanted to see her opinion, and her thoughts were actually rather positive on this software in the fact that it's kind of like it lowers the barrier to entry, I suppose, you know, for people who have ideas in their head, musical ideas. And I mean, obviously, you could very much abuse the system, but I suppose the way that she presented it made me think maybe the AI software for certain aspects isn't actually all that bad. She gave an example of requiring she needed a harmonic. What's the instrument? It's not is it harmonic? Harmonica. She needed a harmonica sound, but she didn't know anyone in her community that played it well enough, and so she used the tool to create something, and that was beneficial. And I'm thinking, is that a bad use? Just because she didn't spend the years to learn how to play the harmonica, is that immoral of her to have used this software? And I'm not talking, obviously, the environmental impact or whatever.
I mean, it all depends on... I think it depends on if you're workshopping an idea and it's just like a trial thing that you're playing with. I guess there's no harm at that point. But again, like, it's how many industries does that relate to in terms of taking away something from somebody, you know? Whereas, like, yes, you can say, oh, I need a harmonica on this part, AI build it, but also it's like, what you could also have a connection with someone who's a musician who plays really good harmonica, who could contribute on that track, who would introduce you to someone else, and it becomes a more collaborative thing, that something that you're like an instrument or something that you weren't even considering that would work really well on that. So there's an argument for that. And again, it's like the same, like, oh, I need a graphic designer. Like, oh, I'll just go on AI and develop it, rather than go to someone who's worked years building a profession, who probably has better ideas than something AI can churn out.
Yeah.
There's that whole argument.
Yeah, I'm still yet to find where the line is, you know? There's always a line with things.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
I just don't know where the line is yet. It's interesting.
The line becomes apparent, I guess, when we get to a point where it's so spread, far spread, that everything just becomes generic.
Yeah,
you know,
but there's
pop music will just become generic. Like, everything you hear on the radio will just be the same, and then there'll be a backlash against that.
Yeah,
it happens with every turn of like technology, I guess.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, it happened when digital cameras came about. Like, when computer editing started to happen, like, oh, it's not real, or you know, so many conversations happening. And I always think of that book, Steal Like an Artist, when people are like, oh, it just steals our work. I'm like, I understand on a level that is very upsetting. That, well, one, not giving permission for your work to be taken is interesting, but then humans, the learning process involves stealing. Even in the wedding industry, we're talking about how all the work can look the same. You shouldn't follow other photographers because, one, it might make you feel bad, but two, because there's no creativity in it, because we're all copying each other. And now we're using that argument to say, oh, we shouldn't be training something that, you know what I mean? I spend a lot of time thinking about the moral implications of AI and the learning thing, and, you know, comparing it to how people learn or things. And then, you know, I understand that it's taking away money from creatives. That's terrible. And then, again, trying to parse out where that line is about how to suitably use AI, because essentially it's not going anywhere. But then what are the pros to it? You know, suddenly artistry becomes something more, well, does it become something more nuanced if a human created it? It becomes more specialized and then more appreciated. And so
Definitely,
maybe you can actually make more money as an artist because there's all this slop out there. So I'm like, it's just a really interesting, you have so many nuanced conversations, of which I'll probably have many.
Definitely.
Weird.
I think as that, unfortunately, that as with when the digital age came and compute data inputting and things like that, it got rid of someone who was keeping records of things, writing stuff down or whatever. But again, it's hard to say because it hasn't happened yet, and none of us know what the outcome is of AI and what the end goal is for these oligarchs.
The rich become richer.
It just develops. I think you find new crafts will arise out of that kind of thing, and old formats become more prevalent and, again, more lucrative, like you say. I mean, my wife, she's a sign painter, and more and more businesses are going back to hand painted signage on shop fronts, and
Amazing.
she's stacked out with work now, and it's amazing to see how many more people are turning towards that, rather than vinyl was when vinyl came out as a signage thing for shops, you know, practically wiped out the whole sign painting industry in whenever it was, in the 80s or whatever. But it's back, and it's probably booming right now. So
why do you think it is? Sorry, Greg.
There you go.
Why?
Why do you think this particular point in time there's an influx of people wanting hand painting stuff? Again,
just unique perspective, personalization, the craft of it, the imperfection of it. It feels more human. It feels more, people can connect with that stuff a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, we go, we're in France back in the summer, and obviously she has an interest in that. But when you're walking around and you see a really old hand painted sign, it's incredible to see, because you look at the artistry of it, and it's someone did that. Someone was up there painting that. So I think that's where the connection is. That's where people can respond emotionally to that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also the same reason why film photography is having a bit of a moment again, because it's given couples the opportunity to have that sort of, it's a bit more raw, it's real, it's not been it's obviously been through a computer, but it's not highly, heavily retouched through a computer. And I think that's why the film's actually a bit more popular just now.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think, unless unless that technology unless they're unable to make that stuff anymore, that stuff will prevail and they'll carry on. Hopefully they can still innovate it in some way. I don't know how, but yeah, I think it just kind of comes back to the surface, doesn't it? Those things. And again, it's just like, the longevity of of having those things that people connect with on some other level.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. Again, go back to AI. Everyone talks about the environmental impact. I'd never hear the environmental impact mentioned when it comes to film being brought up again, or vinyl. Vinyl plastic is fucking terrible for the environment, and so are all the chemicals used to develop film or make the film. So it's interesting. It's really hard. It's a hard world to live in when you're trying not to do as much damage as you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially I guess with the kind of the actual process of making the actual celluloid, the actual film itself. The development side of things and the chemical side of things, there are people out there who are kind of pushing forward with plant-based chemistry and things like that. Like, what's the guy called? His name will come to me. James Lane, who runs a company, and he's basically developing like old Rodinol kind of developers, which have long shelf lives, but are much better for the environment. There's no use of there's no carcinogens, and then he uses a plant-based fixer, things like that. So he's like a chemist who's pushing for really good developer that doesn't compromise on any quality, but is equally as good for the environment. His developer is as I'm pretty sure he said this, but don't quote me if I'm wrong. That he said it's as bad as pouring your morning coffee down the sink kind of thing. So,
hey, I'm Ashley from With Jack. I'm one of the sponsors of the Perspective podcast. With Jack helps to keep photographers in business by supporting them financially and legally if they have problems with a client or they make a mistake in their work. We've all had that fear of our CF card or our hard drive failing and losing important photos. You can find out more at withjack.co.uk. Head over there and find out how we can help you be a confident creative.
Okay, I can't find it. Can you give me a link to his stuff? Because
James Lane. His company is called Zone Imaging.
Zone Imaging. Yeah, because that's interesting. I mean, many of our listeners will know I had a stint with developing my own photos during COVID and around that time. I've still got the used chemicals in my attic because I'm just like, I don't trust the dump to discard of it properly. So yeah, there's just in my attic. So I want to get rid of it at some point.
Yeah,
I need to do more research into it. I don't know. Don't trust my counsel and the dump. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna read that later. What's your views on the wedding industry at the moment? Look, do you have any thoughts about it, or?
In terms of like, where are you heading?
I where would you head with that question? I mean, like, whether it be trends or, I don't know, you could look at body standards or anything, like any pros, cons that you think need to change, or
I feel like we use the word trends in a negative way, although trends, like, in a sense of they come and go, but I think as creatives it's important to not stay stagnant, and trends are going to be part of that, because if something looks good, people want to try it and it's going to become popular. That's just culture, isn't it, in any sense? But and I think we have to look at wedding days, and we can say, I'm not going to follow these trends because that's bad. But like at the end of the day, if that's a trend, then couples and clients are actively asking for that stuff and booking that stuff. So it becomes popular in not just the wedding industry as a culture, but the wider. You got to look outside of the wedding industry and see what's happening. So I think trends are seen in a negative light. I don't know. Maybe that's just me sensing that. But I get a feel for people saying, "I don't want to follow trends. I don't want to be." But equally, I think that's the only way you develop yourself as an artist as well, is by, like you say, copying, stealing stuff from others, and you develop your own unique take on it.
Yeah. I suppose you are right in the fact that it definitely does get shunned into the bad grouping of terminologies that we use. I suppose right now it's the what would be the counter? It would be like going for that timeless feeling that images have.
Nothing is timeless. Nothing can be timeless
except for our style. How dare you, sir? I mean, yeah, to a degree, you're absolutely right.
Because what I see people describe as timeless is black and white photo of someone in a bow tie, in a suit kind of thing, and they go, "Oh, that's so timeless." I guess from a sense of like, it's timeless in the sense you can't pinpoint when that's from. Is that when it becomes timeless? Is that that's the notion, I guess.
Yeah. You know what? I've never properly thought about what the elements that make something timeless. But yeah, I suppose that ability to put it in, like, to know when something came from. Actually, that's not true. I have thought about that quite a bit. But you know, like if you see like spot color, that trend years ago, you can more or less pinpoint like a decade that people were spot coloring things. I mean, I wonder if that'll ever come back.
But the thing is, as well, like with that kind of stuff, becomes, and it's not, I don't think it's for us to say how someone feels about that in terms of that is nostalgia for some people.
Yeah.
Because that's, and I think that's where I probably have an issue with the timelessness thing, is because when does something that's timeless become nostalgic for that person? Because nostalgia is from a point in time that you connect that with. So like all our old photos of 90s point and shoot cameras is nostalgic because we lived that point in time, and it was something. It's more than just the look of the photo or the point and shoot camera. It's the feeling that we connect with that time in our lives as kids or whatever.
Yeah, because I suppose, like, when you think about it, like if you think about any genre of art throughout the history, like take, I don't know, pop art, any form, Renaissance paintings, you like, are they timeless? No, they're just old, and so we're just used to them being around us. But you can very easily pinpoint the time. Okay, it's a fairly big time scale, but you can point to when those style of paintings were taking, and so, but we would call them timeless. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but more of just a brain.
I would probably spin that around and say it's rather than timeless, like it's irreplaceable, like it's set its relevance and its, I guess, stature. that point in time of like when you say Renaissance, it's called Renaissance because that's a point in time that we call that, because that was that whole movement of that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, but at one point that would have been a trend.
Exactly,
Certain
yeah.
artists would down, other styles of painting. Like when oh, no. Yeah, I don't want to get into like older styles of art. We've seen it coming. It's lived nowadays. When things come about, the next iteration goes, or the whatever iteration kind of poo-poos another, and then they demonize it to whatever level. But yeah, it's never. I suppose. Yeah, you're right. The prestige of a trend. Interesting. I thought about that.
I think a lot of that stuff. The trend thing, I guess, is you can see it. You can see it across cultures and stuff, because there's like a there's like a higher force of people who want everything to be normal and grey and boring, because everything works conveniently for someone at that point. The government, school, it's all like, if everything is the same, it's easy because everyone will do the same thing, which is why that kind of thing of trends or someone doing something slightly differently is frowned upon at first, because it's a movement.
Yeah, interesting. By the way, listeners, you might have realized that our conversations have been a little bit more conversational. Greg and I have become less focused on the show notes and the pre-production questions. So you might get little rambly bits like this that may or may not interest you. So if you want to unsubscribe, that's fine. But if not, I much prefer these more No. I'm loving it. It was just we changed it originally because it was too structured. So I'm really enjoying these little like moments that you might not, or it just gives us time to think about something maybe in a different way, or open up our perspective. Great podcast. And yeah, I don't know. Hopefully when people are going to a wedding, they too will. Oh my God, I got someone at my door. Oh my God. Greg, take over. I need to go to my door. I'm sorry. It's Christmas time. Lots of packages are getting delivered. I'm sorry, like.
Goodness me. Santa only comes on the 25th. What are you on about? Well, I'm going to go back to Wyrd and get on topic, because one thing that we didn't talk about was like what the plan for the few days is. Like, obviously there's going to be talk sections where the people who are there as speakers are going to have time to do a section. But what, in those down moments, is there any other activities or things planned?
Yeah, and I meant to mention this earlier when Simon was talking about, I forgot what he was talking about, but in terms,
we all do.
This is it. In terms of what was it? There was a good segue. It was to do with like stealing work or like copying something. So I didn't want to do a styled shoot or anything for the retreat or bring models in, because then the workshop becomes centered around that. And I don't think styled shoots are a bad idea. I think creatively they're important for people to trial new things, and that's what they should be used for. But what I wanted to do with this is do something more with, like, there will be a portrait session, but we've twisted it in a sense that we want the attendees and one of the speakers to be running a portrait session to see how they work, for one, and how they would direct somebody or take a portrait of someone, but also flip that around on the attendees. So attendees will be taking portraits of each other as well, and putting ourselves in those vulnerable positions. Because I don't think a lot of the time as photographers, we take portraits of people and we don't completely understand how it feels to be on that side of the camera. And I think it's important to be able to be in that situation quite a lot as well, and see how you respond to that, how it affects you having your photo taken, and then what you'll take away from that experience when photographing and taking portraits of other people. So yeah, I think and we've called that portraits as empathy, which is like being able to see eye to eye with your subject and understand what it feels like.
Okay. That sounds interesting. I'm assuming it was when I was talking about how I couldn't do portraiture work.
No, and I've moved on to that was another part of the workshop. What you were saying about stealing artists. So what we're going to do, we'll have an installation at the retreat, which stays up for the entirety. So it's going to involve, like, there will be some kind of floral display element to it. But what I wanted to do is have that installation there for the entirety of the event, but say to attendees, like, I want you to photograph this over the course of the next few days and see how that changes, but also see how you change your perspective, whether that's working with someone else and seeing how they work, and see how that changes the way you photograph that subject, like whether those flowers will be dying over the course of the few days, they will change, and then come back to it at the end of it and see how photographing one subject can be vastly different in terms of from this photographer to this photographer, but also from you on this day to you on this day, and see how you change in that way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it's a good way to be able to see how other people work and see what you can do creatively with some kind of limitation there, because it's not moving. It's a still life. And you've got to work to be a bit more creative to get different photos from it each day, kind of thing, or at certain points during the day. Or
I love that. I think it's going to be great. I think I think as creatives, we learn the best from being around like-minded individuals to see how they would approach stuff. Because I think, I'm sure if you were listening to Luke describe that scene, you were already going through, how would you shoot that? As I was, like, because we go to weddings all the time and shoot table decor, and we've heard people have rules about how you should shoot table decor, especially in relation to like certain styles of weddings, like whatever a luxury wedding means to you. You need to be so many images need to be above and portrait, for all these rules about print and stuff to get featured on blogs and stuff. And I find the best learning I've ever done is when I'm with another photographer at a wedding and seeing how they approach something that we shoot all the time, and they're doing it differently. I love that idea. So yeah, it's really cool. How many people are going to be at the retreat? Do you know?
So
how many tickets are available?
There are 16 attendees total, cool. And then obviously plus speakers, plus myself.
What is if anyone's out there thinking, this sounds amazing, how much is this going to cost? Let's get into that for a bit.
So as of now, we actually only have 6 tickets left for it. So, and they are one of the twin sharing rooms. So we had 3 tiers of tickets basically. So we had a private suite, which is all your roll top bath experience. That's gone. If you want that, you're too late.
That's it. Too bad. Oh, you got the last one.
Now we've just got the twin rooms available, which is two people sharing a room kind of thing. But yeah, we have those
cool.
tickets. They're £1,100 at the minute, those tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Nice.
again, like I tried to make it as accessible as possible, but still give the full experience. And I know it's expensive, but also it's meals are covered. You're staying in the same place. You're not forking out for a hotel as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're not paying for an extra shoot. It's kind of everything's included in that ticket price. So once you actually tot up what something like this costs, I think it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's amazing.
on-site private chef. That's a good selling point right there.
Hell yeah.
We actually, I'm just about to secure it as well. But on the last night, because we want to give like everyone a good send off on the last night. But we've a friend of ours who's in the industry as well. He's a videographer. Lovestruck Visuals. I think he's based in Sheffield, but he actually owns a taco van as well. So they're bringing the taco van along on the last night, which
Hell
is cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love struck visuals. Wedding photography and videography.
Oh, he's a
There you go.
photographer.
Let's have
as
a
well.
look. Interesting. I've not heard of this individual. Cool.
I'm seeing on the
Another
website as well.
crave.
There's morning rituals where is it optional yoga? You've got a group walk as well.
We've got yoga as well. Obviously, there's a indoor swimming pool as well. There's a hot tub, a wood-fired hot tub out the back. There's so much space to be able to just be and find. Obviously, we want people to be together, which is why it's such a small group of attendees. But there's also enough space to be able to go off. But yeah, we'll do guided walks around the peaks as well. There's a river right next to it. If anyone wants to do any cold water stuff, that's often quite popular.
Yeah.
It will be cold that time of year. Jesus.
So yeah, there's it's kind of structured, but very loosely structured in that sense, because we want people, like with the time of talks and things like that, we've kept them spread out enough that if something goes off again, like on a tangent, and people have questions, we don't want to discourage that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
We all want to know how much Ed is charging and making and going through his taxes and stuff. Cannot wait. Hey, Greg, how about we get on to show and tell? Because poor Luke, he's had to sell his wares. We've not really talked too much about Luke's work, and I feel bad for that because Luke, your work is good. It's really good.
thank you. Oh God, I didn't know you was going to do this.
Well, you know what?
Simon went on a deep dive.
I went on a deep dive, but yeah. So let's do show and tell because you deserve it, Luke. This is Luke's
Thank
time,
you.
ladies and gentlemen. So this first image, I've said this before in the podcast, but the first thing I do when I enter a room is look for silhouettes, mirrors. It's the first thing I do. I just feel like you can just see the world in a totally different way. You can play with mirrors quite a lot. And so I really liked this image. Again, I'm a fan of black and white, but it's so abstract in the fact that, okay, you're looking at a couple of individuals, you can see a face, but really I'm looking around what else there is here and what shapes I'm seeing if I squint my eyes, or that sort of thing. What other elements are interesting to me? And so yeah, that's why I like this image. Why did you take this image? Why?
I guess a constraint. I guess this was a really small wedding. This was like, I think they booked me for 2 or 3 hours, and it was a small town hall ceremony, maybe 10 guests, and then over to this private dining restaurant, which is just, you walk in, there's a huge table in a small room.
Mm-hmm.
The chef's over there in the corner, and everyone's sat around the table, and the chef's cooking. But yeah, on the far wall, they had all these all those mirrors. So it's just that, like, figuring out how can I make use of this time more creatively and produce some stuff that's a bit different in a tiny room of only 10 people who I've already photographed numerous times in the ceremony and beforehand. And but yeah, those mirrors, it's really cool because it's right just below those mirrors is a table where the chef was just plating up all of the food. So there was kind of all this steam happening and stuff as well. So I just think, I was just waiting for her that's the bride. I was just waiting for her to turn around, so I could at least get her face in one of them.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to hear where would you put this in a gallery, because quite often, and we spoke to Ollie about this, about being storytellers and how that's a thing, and I have identified myself as a storyteller, but only because I can't think of anything other than what else is there to describe yourself if I'm constantly thinking about, films and the arc of the feelings of a film. But it's the same goes with a gallery, and I think back to Alfred Hitchcock's analysis on how an image preceding another affects how you're feeling. I always think about that all the time. So, where in a gallery would you put this image? And do you think about these things, placement images in a gallery?
I've been a little bit more intentional with it the past year, and in terms of, because I used to think that obviously being a documentary wedding photographer was having the time frame of the day in this sequential kind of thing. But I think it's important to have those little, I guess, those jarring moments in between within a gallery now, because I think it kind of refreshes you. It's like a palate cleanser, isn't it? Of like, just something that stands out, maybe that's either edited differently or there's a weird perspective that makes you think a little bit more. But that, I mean, I wouldn't say that in the gallery is, because it was only a short wedding anyway. It's like, it's still pretty sequential in that way. What's that word? What's the word? I'm not
chronological.
Chronological. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still in chronological order, but I think it's nice to have those still in there because it breaks up any viewing fatigue, maybe.
I mean, you can definitely. So there's this terminology that I don't think many people outside of filming know, and no one talks about it. It's called shooting for the edit, and it's basically just a way of like getting a shot in order of how it would be placed in your story. Now, obviously, not you are working with a timeline of a day, and so you're not really. There's only certain situations where you can actually do that, but one is like these little micro moments of how you enter a scene. And when I was younger, I bought this book. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was Mastering the Shots, and it had no words in it, or very little. It had maybe like a foreword, but all of it was like it was like a study on how you enter a scene and what that was. Like how people enter and exit scenes. And so like storytelling for me is, I could take a wide picture of this desk and you see everything in it. Cool, but where's the story? If I was to take a closer shot of this mug, watch the steam pop up, followed by a shot of the mouse, followed by like a few of the pixels on the screen in that order. What am I building? That to me is storytelling.
Yeah.
You're building up an idea of what these things are, giving the viewer time to think about it before you show the desk and what's happening at the desk, as an example. And obviously, like frame rate and not frame rate, focal length, depth perception, all that kind of plays into this idea of scene building. And I think nowadays, I don't get to adventure that much because our films now are now like 6 to 10 minutes long. That's very little time for me to build anticipation before a release in a visual form. But now I've started to look at galleries because they actually, like photographers, you do have the time to put images in an order to build anticipation, because I do think that is important in the perception of when there's that wow moment, you know? That's why I'm always shooting hands and feet and reflections and silhouettes. But yeah, I would be interesting to hear from others and, you know, yourself, like, about, you know, how much thought they put into that idea of gallery work, or even how they approach a scene.
Yeah.
Do they do it in order, or
It's probably just like you say, like going back to that, to a filmmaker's perspective. It's looking at those establishing shots, aren't they? They're like, how do you create the scene? How do you create a feeling with this? With these, with this sequence of images or frames, whatever you're trying to portray, how do you intensify that? Yeah, isn't it really?
Yeah, 100%. Greg, let's move on to the next image because I actually can't remember. Oh yeah. I really enjoyed this image. One, there's definitely humor in it. I like that you've shot it kind of straight on. There's this line of folk. I mean, dare I mention Martin Parr again on another episode of this podcast, but he has just passed. But that kind of...
Rest in peace, yeah.
Yeah, that sort of tone, almost comical, hits hard with this image for me. What about this image do you like or not like, and why did you take it?
Again, just that hedge looks great for one. And just the way people were kind of lined up against it. Everything was kind of just symmetrical in that sense, like. And just the way you can't, I mean, it was really harsh sunlight. It was hot. It was middle of the day.
Yeah.
Everyone was trying to get as much shade as they could by that hedge. So that was the reason, like, people were kind of against it, I guess.
That's hilarious.
But I just love, I love stuff like that.
Well. Like,
yeah. I love stuff like that because it's just what are these collection of people chatting about what's happening in this scene. I think you've got to think about this, especially at wedding days. Like, a lot of these people will either it's the first time they've interacted, or they've not interacted in a while, and it's the first time you've got, and the only time probably, that you've got this collection of people together. So I think it's important to catch these wider scenes of people interacting on wedding days.
Yeah. Is this one shot on film?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This was medium format.
Cool.
I think Portra 400 probably.
There's also something satisfying about that very straight line of that hedge. I don't know what it is about it. but it just
This
lends itself
this was
so well.
this was the bride's parents' house as well. So it was,
Oh,
I think there was 140 guests crammed into that garden. I mean, there was got some nice little pockets, but 140 people. When we very first got there at the reception after the church wedding, it was, it was difficult because everyone was just crammed in. And I was like, oh my God, how am I supposed to get through this, like physically get through this crowd of people?
Yeah.
In the back garden. But it was cool. It was a good wedding.
Yeah. I quite often feel that way at dance floors. I'm like, how do I get my camera up and walk through these thick bunch of folk? Yeah. Yeah, really good. Really good. Next image, Greg. Oh, yeah. So this actually lends itself great to what we were just talking about, how, at the retreat, you're going to get people to take pictures of flowers. We've all done detail shots, but this, to me, is a perfect image, because at first you don't know what you're looking at, or at least I do, but I don't know how you did it. Were there mirrors involved? Was this highly processed? Do you do this with all your details? Tell me about this shot and how you did it.
So this wedding, this was very, like, in terms of details and whatever you call them, flat lays.
Flat lays, yeah.
This was very curated. And the bride did it all. I mean, she did all of the jewelry and everything on display. But this picture was after she was getting ready. She had 4 dress changes on this day, and this was one of the final dress changes for the reception. So they were trying to do it fairly quickly, where all the bridesmaids, they went back up to the room to change, and she had these team of bridesmaids around her changing the dress, then getting out the different jewelry and putting different jewelry on for each part of the day. And this was just the jewelry boxes, they were just left on the floor kind of thing. So that wasn't styled in any particular sense. They were just on the floor.
Okay. Is this why is it? So it's just a black floor?
Sorry, say again. You broke up a little bit then.
Is it just? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can now, cable. Yeah.
Okay. Was the floor black or what?
It was so it was a car. I mean, it was in shade. It was just on a carpet floor. But I did push the shadows right back down. So it kind of just gave that look of, where are they in space?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly. Are they floating about?
Are they falling? Are they in the air? And I kind of like that. There was a lot of fashion shots that I saw of things being thrown in the air, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted that look, but obviously they were just splayed out on the floor. Yeah, so it was.
Yeah, I really like it. I had this thought of maybe look threw them up into the air but too risky. By the way, if you're a photographer out there and you're throwing stuff in the air, fuck me. I hope your insurance is good.
A bunch of what is it? I can't even pronounce that. Swarovski or whatever it's called.
Swarovski. I don't even know. Can't tell you what that is.
Swarovski.
I'm not even going to bother butchering that name. Yeah, was that the last one? Was I a good boy, Greg? Did I keep it to 3?
Yeah, because we had the slideshow of ARC photos as well.
Oh yeah,
that was technically the 4th, but we've done that.
Okay, good.
Nice.
Good. Yeah, Good. Well, yeah, thank you for joining us, Luke. Obviously, this whole event is sponsoring us to do these episodes, and so we will have every single speaker on the podcast. Some we've already recorded, and they have been fantastic chats. So keep an eye on our socials for those. But yeah, buy your tickets to Wyrd. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time for sure. Look, where can people find you online?
So my photography is just Luke Whittemore photography.co.uk, and for all stuff Wyrd is at wyrd.uk, which is WYRD.
Yeah, don't get confused. But yeah, go there, buy your tickets, and we'll see you there. Looking forward to it. People can find us at perspectivebycinemate.com. Our Instagram is at perspectivebycinemate. You can follow our hybrid stuff at Allowance for the Feral if you want to, but don't worry about it. Yeah, do buy your tickets to Wyrd. Because it's going to be a 3-day event. A creative retreat built for photographers, artists, makers who want space to breathe and room to think. 23rd to the 26th of March 2026 at Arc Peaks in the heart of the Peaked District. If you have loved this conversation, please do hit subscribe on our YouTube at youtube.com/at perspective by Cinemate, or even wherever you get podcasts. We will be there, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. However,
In the meantime,
stay weird and enjoy your life.